work hard, there are very good career pathways.
The problems that we solve have a direct impact on the patient care.
They can see a lot in you. They will push you to do more training and get further and further.
Being able to think on your feet, quick thinking is very important.
You feel that you're part of something, especially when you're working within the NHS.
Every day is different, like not one day I could say it's the same role.
We've made a difference every day to people's lives.
It's such an unknown area and industry that I think once someone sees it, they'd really want to go forward with it in the future.
Have you thought about a career in engineering or manufacturing? Did you know you could work in one of those fields within the NHS? There's an army of skillful and dedicated staff within engineering and manufacturing roles that help keep all of our life-saving equipment working and the NHS running smoothly. You'll work as part of a wider healthcare team who play a vital role across our health service. Engineers in the NHS maintain and repair a range of equipment and facilities, from computers to medical equipment to manufacturing artificial limbs. All are vital to a high quality and life-saving healthcare across the National Health Service. Staff in these roles may work within hospital departments, repairing and maintaining multi-million-pound equipment where it's been installed, or in areas such as clinical engineering or IT. They may work in a workshop where smaller equipment, such as blood pressure machines or laptops, can be brought in for repair. There are departments responsible for keeping oxygen and water and energy supplies running to ensure the hospital's functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and also staff that are responsible for plumbing, heating, painting, and so much more. Let's take a trip behind the scenes to meet staff from the Royal Wolverhampton NHS Trust in these professions and find out what life is really like for them. Learn how they got into the career and what they actually do, and you might just be surprised.
My name is Sarah Jane Peach and I am a clinical dental technician and I work within a MaxFax lab. I make appliances for patients which can be, I specialise in teeth, but the department I'm in also do eyes, ears and noses. I also see the patients and I make the appliances. The requirements for my job role, they do vary because there are different jobs within the department. What I did is I actually originally was a dental nurse, and then from that I did an apprenticeship. And I was lucky enough that I got sponsored through my apprenticeship, continued on into the NHS, and then within the NHS I did a following qualification which they have sponsored me through. There is also the more academic route, which would be going to university to do a degree in dental technology, and then you can top that up with a master's in maxillofacial. There are lots of skills and characteristics that are perfect for this role. There are lots of different things that I think can lead to being a great MaxFax or dental technician. So I think patience and understanding for seeing patients, and then having a technical and engineering ideas, and also artistic. So any of those is a great skill to have if you're coming into this area. The job role can lead you to many areas. So I'm now more clinical, where I started off definitely more lab-based. So that's where it's led me. I've been led to spend more patient time. It can continue on to research in the long run, if that's something you're interested in. And obviously 3D printing has become a massive part of our industry now. So it can become slightly more IT based as well.
In theatre, the surgeons like to use these face masks with the built-in visors, but they've become increasingly difficult to get hold of. So we came up with a solution whereby we designed on our CAD software a clip that holds, it's got two little studs to hold the visor on, and then two loops for holding the face mask on. And so what you can do is you can reproduce it, the hard to get parts, just simply with these little device that we've designed. We then, once we've designed them on the computer, we can then upload them onto our 3D printers. And the 3D printers, we can print about 250 a day on the printers. They've asked for 4,000, so we've got the printers running flat out, working nights as well, so we can set them up before we go home. And they're running off 250 a day. And then all that needs to be done to make them for use then is pop the acetate onto the clip and then send that to the theatre where they can attach the masks themselves. And we've managed to use our kind of 3D printing techniques from the medical side of things to help produce something that can help with the COVID crisis and assist in the PPE shortage, which is still going on and obviously will probably get a bit worse throughout the winter.
I get a huge amount of satisfaction out of my job. There's a mixture of things that come from it, and there is satisfaction, there is also a little bit of sadness, because obviously you're seeing patients who may not be very well and may continue not to be very well. But then you do have the patients that you can make a huge difference to their standard of living, which is fantastic. Pay for my job is good. As a trainee, you start at 25 upwards to, if you're a manager of the lab, can go as high as 62,000.
So as soon as the lockdown started, our department, all the work stopped coming in. So we decided that we needed to be doing something to make it worthwhile being here. So we started looking at different ways in which we could produce some PPE. And one of the main things was that people said they couldn't get hold of visors. So we started looking at different ways of manufacturing them. And we have some early prototypes where we were 3D printing these studs and using elastic and some foam to try and attach them. We tried tying the elastic through holes in the acetate and then super gluing them on. We even tried making some metal framed ones using the laser welder. And eventually, after a lot of trouble and a lot of stuff going in the bin because it wasn't working, we came up with this one, which we managed to get hold of a riveter from a company in Wolverhampton, and then procurement managed to get all the sticky foam. And once we'd worked out a production line of putting these together and how to do it, we then disseminated that to the staff who were up in the redeployed staff who were up in the library. And once they got cracking, they were producing. At first, we thought we might be able to get sort of 200 or 300 a day, and by the end of it, they were getting thousands a day. And in total, they did 250,000 to keep the trust in visors. And now we've got a stock. Ready for if we need any more. If there's a shortage throughout the winter, we've already got a stock then at the hospital ready to use. So that was just one way of us keeping busy and trying to contribute towards the effort really during the lockdown.
Working in the MaxFax lab is a really fun, interesting place to work. I love it. I've made friends, I've learnt new things, and I would highly recommend it to any girl or boy as an industry to go into. You'd be amazed by the things we make and supply in our department. I'd really recommend coming to have a look around the department and see if there's some work experience or apprenticeship schemes in your area that you could get involved in, because I think it's such an unknown area and industry that I think once someone sees it, they'd really want to go forward with it in the future.
Hi, my name's Rob Millard. I'm Head of Clinical Engineering and I'm also the Medical Device Safety Officer for the Trust. On a day-to-day basis, it's looking after the Clinical Engineering department. That can be from meetings and budgets and HR to individual issues at a local level with the clinical technologists looking at devices which are on the wards and departments within the Trust.
On a normal day, it's attend the workshop to see what jobs have been logged. I deal with external contracts, so it could be GPs within Wolverhampton, hospitals, mental health hospitals. So if they have a breakdown in equipment or medical devices, they'd log a call and then we could get the call and then organise our daily basis on where to go first, prioritise, obviously repair the device or maintain the device, return it back to the customer.
There's no 2 days the same. But in the main, I'm one of the management team, and we all have responsibility for various sections of clinical engineering, various workshop sections. So we look after the technicians on a day-to-day basis, look at any issues there might be with workloads, and react to what needs to be done to make sure the clinical users have their medical device services. So the sections that I'm responsible for managing include our EBME internal section, which deals with various wards and departments at New Cross Hospital. We have our renal technologists department that deals with all of our renal units, both here and at Cannock Chase and at various satellite units. And I also manage the clinical equipment resource library, which loans out medical devices to many wards and departments across the trust.
I started when I was 18. I did an ONC and a HNC. And then I was fortunate, I did a degree in '94. My first degree was in electronics. And then I moved from the clinical engineering aspect into management. So I did my postgraduate certificate and diploma in management. And then I finally did my master's in clinical engineering.
I first entered the profession as a trainee renal technician way back in the 80s. I then progressed up through the role of Chief Clinical Technologist for the renal unit, managing the day-to-day work of the technicians, and was then fortunate enough to be promoted into the role of Operational Quality Manager here at New Cross.
I started as a Band 3 within this department, within Medical Physics and Clinical Engineering, which was basic of 5 GCSEs from A to C level. And then I had, while I was here, they seen something in me and decided to develop me. And I went to college for an extra 4 years while maintaining a full-time job, and did an ONC and a HNC in clinical engineering.
I think one of the biggest and important skills is listening to people. Communication is very important with a large clinical engineering department of 40 plus engineers. And good communication skills, obviously, to get messages quickly and promptly to the right people within the department.
A drive to succeed, to have a drive to problem solve. Never see anything as a problem, but always an opportunity to improve and get the best outcome for our patients.
You've got to be very outgoing and sociable, be able to have customer relations. Within the mental health settings that we have, obviously it's the way you put yourself forward, speaking to different managers, sometimes there'll be patients.
There are cross skills which can lead you into other areas, because you start getting knowledge of how departments work, how methods are applied around the trust, so therefore there are transferable skills to actually move from clinical engineering into other departments.
I think within the hospital you can go as far as you want to, as far as your department will let you. We're lucky within our department, they do see a lot. If they can see a lot in you, they will push you to do more training and get further and further. So it could be head of department after somebody else's job.
Within the clinical engineering profession, there is every opportunity for you to succeed and promote and get higher and higher in the scale.
It is good pay, it's very challenging, but I think the two biggest things I get, when I was an engineer, it was repairing something which was fixed, then it was repaired, and that helped get a patient and make them better. Now that I look after members of my staff, I get the rewards of getting the thanks and praises to my team, so I actually get the kicks of watching my team progress and people saying thank you to the team, or patients saying thank you for repairing this piece of equipment. So that's my reward, is watching them develop and grow as a team and get better and better on a daily basis.
As a little girl, I loved taking things apart and putting things back together. So to me, it's enjoyment of repairing it. And currently, there's a great pension within the trust, so at least I'll have something to rely on in the future, as for when I retire.
There are various disciplines, from anatomy and physiology, from electronics and computers, from mechanical engineering to surgical engineering, to what we call CIS, which is clinical information systems, so databases, so even software and programming. You encompass all this actually into a engineering discipline which helps patients get better, because technology is now moving more and more forward, that we're now getting into this real computer age where everything talks to everything, and it's exciting times because the medical equipment is keeping up. New apps, new software, you get things on your phone which can then actually tell you what's wrong with you. It's very exciting times.
If you've got the drive and the ambition, the sky's the limit in terms of roles within an NHS trust.
I'm Rob and I'm an Estates Officer for the Royal Wolverhampton NHS Trust. So on a typical day, no day is the same. We carry out PPM tasks, which is pre-planned maintenance. So that can be anything from emergency lighting tests to fire alarm tests. And then also we do reactive work. So that can be anything from a broken socket to lights not working. And yeah, we respond to that.
It changes on a daily basis, which keeps the job interesting. We carry out reactive work, whether that's attending to heating issues, electrical issues. We also carry out planned maintenance to make sure our plant is running as efficiently as it should be. I'm posted at the boiler house at the New Cross Hospital, and without the boiler house you wouldn't have a hospital. It's the beating heart. It provides the energy needed, it provides the heating needed, it provides your hot water. If you take the boiler house out, you effectively disable the hospital.
I had to have an HNC, and also for the job requirements I needed to go on a HV high voltage course and also an LV high voltage course, so I'm an AP in them fields as well.
This trust actually sent me to university to gain that qualification, which allowed me to progress into the role that I'm in now.
You need to have a good mindset, you need to be reliable and enthusiastic.
There's a range of different fault finding to do, which you need the technical knowledge to do, which is why your study is important. Working as part of a team is huge. I'm much more engineering bias on some industrial plant. Without my colleagues, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at when it comes to electrical type systems we have here, which can be very complicated at times. Of course, we have a range of carpentry, building services. You need all of these to come together to just solve one issue.
You could progress really well, and ultimately you could become an estates manager.
I've moved up into a few different roles. All on the engineering ladder, but the progression don't seem to be slowing down. They allow you to progress, they want you to progress, they provide the training necessary to allow you to. So as long as you're willing, you've got the work ethic, you can work yourself as high up, there is no limit.
I have good job satisfaction because it's good to feel as though you've made a difference during the day for the patients. If you can walk away knowing that something you did that day made a difference to a patient who's receiving care, then that fills you with the satisfaction. Working for a public service, you get great pension schemes, you get great benefits with your holidays, you get great flexibility.
Within the Estates Department at New Cross Hospital, there is plenty of training opportunities, whether you're an apprentice or an existing member of staff. As a department, we try to utilise the local apprenticeship funding levy pot to take on board new apprentices and develop them into the roles of existing staff members. There's a range of disciplines in which we go out to advert. That can be electrical apprentices, plumbing apprentices, mechanical engineering, there's also carpentry, building, and we're starting to take on board now more IT-based and systems-based apprentices within the department. We are looking to change with the times, incorporate the technology available to us, and that's where employing young people with an active mind who are already technology savvy helps us to deliver the services we provide.
Knowing that we are providing the services safely to allow the frontline staff to do their work fills you with a great deal of satisfaction.
My name is Salma and I'm an orthotist. So as an orthotist, we do a lot of gait analysis, which is looking at the way people are walking and trying to either improve their mobility and provide them solutions for people who have difficulty with certain areas. The things that we can provide are things like insoles, braces, whether that's knee braces, ankle braces, back braces, helmets, to a lot more complex things. So on a day-to-day basis, we'll be seeing patients throughout the day. Long-term patients that we have, young children from sort of under a year old to your really elderly patients, and we'll be again looking at the problem that they present with and trying to find solutions for their problems that will enhance their mobility and make their lives more comfortable. To get into the profession, you need a background in science and maths, normally physics. You'd need 3 A-levels, and the 2 universities in the UK that offer the course have slightly different requirements for those gradings. If you're coming in as a more mature student, then if you don't have a background in science and maths, often you'll need to do an access course just to get your subject knowledge up. We're a healthcare profession, so you have to come into the profession wanting to care for people. We do quite a lot of practical and hands-on work. You've got to be quite innovative and quick thinking, come up with different solutions, think outside the box and be a bit creative. The job role is quite specific. If you go to do a prosthetics and orthotics course, then you are limited in that you're either going to become an orthotist or you're going to become a prosthetist, or go into management in those fields. People are often coming to you in a lot of pain. Their quality of life has deteriorated massively, and you're able to try and come up with solutions to try and help them. So number one would definitely be job satisfaction with seeing patients go away happy. You get a lot of job security with it, and obviously the pay that goes along with that, and there's a lot of scope for development in terms of pay grades as well. You can keep progressing, and with that obviously your pay packet progresses as well. So you come into work every day with seeing different people, different types of people, different personalities. You get to interact with lots of different types of people, and the teams you're working with, you've got this really good bond and you feel that you're part of something, especially when you're working within the NHS.
So I guess in IT we look after various aspects. So we've got a software development team, we've got an application support team, we've got a help desk team, we've got a project management team that looks after all the new projects coming in, we've got a security team. So yes, so there's various teams within IT. Myself, I specialise in pathology IT, so I look after the laboratory, so we get results from A&E, from different hospitals. We're doing a lot at the moment with COVID, and we look after all the equipment. We get the labs call us on a daily basis. We deal with the emails, the queries, third parties, and we provide help over the phone and also in person as well. So a lot of this going out to the labs, seeing what the issue is and resolving those issues. When I first started at the hospital, I worked in the application support team, and then I also worked on the help desk and then into second line, and then I worked also shortly in the server team and then pathology, IT. So not necessarily do you need a degree, you can learn a lot, everything that you do on the role. Experience or work experience can definitely make you stand out, and it shows that initiative and the ability to work, because I think within IT you need to be able to communicate with all levels of staff, so whether it be a nurse or a doctor or someone else who's technical, and be able to break that jargon down. I think one of the key aspects of the role is communication, to be able to communicate with the people that you're trying to help, being adaptable, being able to work flexible, because the hospital is 24 hours, 7 days a week, being able to work like bank holidays, work on short notice, be able to come in. I've gone from working in procurement in the NHS to working in the application support team, and then moving into the help desk, and then becoming a team leader in the help desk, and then moving into second line. And then from second line, I've moved into pathology IT. So in the course of 10 years, my roles changed maybe up to 5 times. And every time I've learned something new and progressed throughout my career within the NHS. I could be one day just being on the phones, I could be one day just doing emails, one day I can do meetings, one day I can go off site and helping meeting third-party companies. Probably over 100 staff that I communicate with regularly, and then working over the NHS it becomes like a bit like a community, a family, rather than just your work colleagues.
As you've seen, you don't have to be in a clinical role or work with patients to work in the health service. You could work in numerous departments to utilise your engineering or manufacturing skills in different ways. You could be a future biomedical engineer, plant maintenance engineer, prosthetic and orthotics engineer, IT engineer, or you might want to get involved in other technical roles that are responsible for the planning and designing of new equipment and systems. Maybe you could be involved in the development of the next generation of life-saving equipment. If you want to find out more about any of the roles seen in this film, such as qualification requirements or the pathways available, there's loads of information on the Health Careers website, or email ask.ollie@nhs.net if you have any questions about work experience, apprenticeships or careers at Royal Wolverhampton NHS Trust.